Merry Christmas. Hi, I'm Croix, Sather. To me, the best way to illustrate the spirit of this holiday season is to share a story with you, one of my favorite Christmas stories. Bobby was getting cold standing outside in the snow. The thin sneakers he wore had holes and they did a poor job of keeping out the cold. Try as he might, he could not come up with an idea for his mother's Christmas gift. He shook his head and he thought, "This is useless. Even if I do come up with an idea, I don't have any money to spend." Ever since his father passed away 3 years ago, the family of 5 had struggled. There just never seemed to be enough, no matter how hard his mother tried. All 3 of Bobby's sisters had already made beautiful gifts for their mother. Somehow it just wasn't fair. Here it was Christmas Eve, and he had nothing to give her. Wiping a tear from his eye, Bobby kicked the snow and started to walk down the street where the shops and stores were. It wasn't easy being 6 without a father, especially when he needed a man to talk to. Bobby walked from shop to shop, looking into the decorated windows. Everything seemed so beautiful, yet so far out of reach. It was starting to get dark, and Bobby reluctantly turned to walk home when suddenly his eyes caught the glimmer of something shiny against the curb. He reached down to discover a brand new dime. Never before had anyone felt so wealthy as Bobby felt in that moment. As he had held his newfound treasure, a warmth spread through his entire body, and he walked into the first store he saw. But his excitement quickly faded as salesperson after salesperson told him there isn't anything he can buy for just a dime. He saw a flower shop and he went inside and he waited in line. When the owner asked him if he could help him, Bobby presented the single dime and asked him if he could buy 1 flower for his mother for a Christmas gift. The shop owner looked at Bobby and his 10-cent offering. Then he put his hand on Bobby's shoulder and said to him, "Son, you just wait here. Let me see what I can do for you." As Bobby waited, he looked at the beautiful flowers, and even though he was just a boy, he could see why mothers and girls love flowers so much. The sound of the door closed as the last customer left, and it jolted Bobby back to reality. Alone in the shop, Bobby began to feel alone and afraid. Suddenly, the shop owner came out and moved towards the counter. There, before Bobby's eyes, lay 12 long-stem roses with leaves of green and tiny white flowers, all tied together in a big, beautiful silver bow. Bobby's heart sank as the owner picked them up and placed them gently into a long, white box. "That will be 10 cents, young man," the shop owner said, reaching out his hand for the dime. Slowly, Bobby moved his hand to give the man his dime. Could this be true? No one else would give him anything for just a dime. Sensing the boy's reluctance, the shop owner added, "I just happen to have some roses for sale for 10 cents for a dozen. Would you like them?" This time, Bobby did not hesitate, and the man placed a long box into his hands, and he knew it was true. Walking out the door, the owner was holding the door for Bobby, and he heard the shopkeeper say, "Merry Christmas, son." As he returned inside, the shopkeeper's wife walked out. "Who are you talking to? And where are those roses that you were just fixing?" Staring out the window and blinking the tears from his own eyes, he replied, "A strange thing happened to me this morning. While I was setting up things to open up the shop, I heard a voice telling me to set aside a dozen of my very best roses as a special gift. I wasn't sure at the time if I had lost my mind, but I set them aside anyway. Just a few minutes ago, a little boy came into the shop and he wanted to buy a single flower for his mother, and he had just 1 small dime. When I looked at him, I saw myself many years ago when I was a poor boy and had no money to buy my mother a Christmas gift either. When I saw that little boy tonight, I knew who that voice was, and I put together a dozen of my very best roses." The shop owner and his wife hugged each other tightly and they stepped out into the bitter cold air, though they didn't feel cold at all. Wishing you a Christmas filled with love and joy, laughter and happiness, and a new year with even more abundance of everything that you desire in life. Merry Christmas.